Hey guys, it's October 28th of 2023, and now we're going to analyze Zebra Technologies Corporation. Zebra Technologies Corporation works in communications and other things for businesses, retail sector, and so forth. Just technology that businesses would need to operate, particularly in the retail space. So we see that Zebra Technologies is at $207.18 a share. But let's look and see how they've been doing over the years. Let's start with the earnings per share. Now, earnings per share is profit. That's the overall profit they made. But it's a small number. Don't be distracted by that. That overall profit they made is divided. It's earnings per share. So that's divided by the overall number of shares, which, as you see, is 51 million shares. But these numbers are just used to give us an idea of how the company is doing. Are they doing better each year? Are they increasing each year? So in 2018, their earnings per share was 7.76. 2019, it was 9.97. 2020, COVID year, it dropped a little, but not significantly. A lot of businesses really suffered that year, but their drop wasn't much, 9.35. 2021, they really jumped, 15.52. But in 2022, for whatever reason, they took a drop back. They dropped to 8.80 per share. And now they're recovering a little bit. Currently in 2023, they're at 12.45, and they still have 2 months to go, November and December. So we're not sure what they're going to end the year at in terms of earnings per share, but they still have 2 more months to go. And December, as we know, is Christmas month. But let's look a little bit at their numbers. In 2018, they went from 103 to 182 for the share price. 2019, 146 to 258. 2020, 161 to 384. 2021, 374 to 614. And 2022, 226 to 587. And then currently they're at 207. Right? Now let's look and see where their earnings per share has been. 13 and 14 in 2018 and 19. In 2020, they jumped up to 17. It was 17.27. 21, they was at 24.36. 22, they was at 25.78. And now they're currently at 16.64. Now, let's do some calculations here. We can look at the candlestick charts to see if this stock is moving up from this point. But let's say speculatively they were to drop back. Let's say they would move from the current price of $207.18 back to their PE in 2018, which is 13.36. We're going to multiply that by their earnings per share. 12.45 equals, this stock would fall to $166.33 if it went back to 2018's P of 13.36. But for the last 3 years, and particularly the last 2 years, their low PE seemed to stay a little higher, and in the last 2 years it remained in the 20s. Now they're at 1664. So catching this stock at this price, even though it's a little high, 207, but for the PE and for the quality of the company, which we're going to look at, it can be a pretty decent deal. It can be a pretty good sale. Now that we've looked at how far it can fall, let's look at how high it can go. So, in 2018, the PE rose by 10. 2019, it rose by 11. 2020, it rose by a bit. I'm not even going to count. 2021, it rose by 15. And 2022, it rose by a bit as well. So let's pick the lower of those. Let's pick 10. The current PE is 16.64. If I add 10 to that, that's 26.64. I'm adding the current earnings per share plus 10 gives us 26.64 times the current earnings per share, which is 12.45, equals 331.66. So if we look at the PEs, we could see that this stock, if the PE moved up by 10, can go up to $331.66 from its current place of 207.18. But let's look at Yahoo Analyst predictions on where this can go. Or I should say estimates. And if I go down to Zebra Technologies, Yahoo analysts feel it can go up to $283.44. I'm not sure what they factor in when it comes to their analysis of where the price can go. When I factor in where it can go, I'm just doing it strictly based on PE. But whether it's 283 or it was 330, we see that this stock has potential to move. Now let's look at some of the fundamentals. In other words, let's look at how the company is doing. In 2018, they made $4.2 billion. 2019, $4.4 billion. 2020, $4.4 billion again, although a little less. 2021, $5.6 billion. And 2022, $5.7 billion. Now, each of those years they had to pay expenses. After they paid their expenses, how much profit was left? Well, in 2018 they had $421 million. 2019, $544 million. 2020, 504 million. 2021, 837 million. But in 2022, only 463 million. And we noticed 2022 was the year that they made the most in terms of overall sales in the last 5 years. So why did they almost make the lowest amount, excluding 2018, in 2022? And if we drop down one line, we see why. Their profit margins. In other words, when they made their overall sales, how much of that money were they able to keep in expenses, in profit, I should say? How were they able to control their expenses so that they can get back more in terms of profit? In 2018, they made 9.98% profit. 2019, 12.13% profit. 11.33% profit in 2020. 14.18% profit in 2021. But in 2022, their profit margin was lower than all the previous 4 years at 8.01%. But still decent. There's a lot of companies out here. There's some companies, depending on the industry, that make much more. Banks may make around 20%, in the 20 percentile area. Technology may make in the 30 percentile area. But there's a lot of companies out here only making 5%, 3%, some even 2%, 1%. So between 9 and 14%, or 8 and 14%, I would say is decent. Let's move down to return on equity, return on the shareholders' investment. And what do we have? 2018, 31%. 2019, 29%. 2020, 23%. 2021, 28%. And 2022, 16%. 2022 was decent, but it's quite a drop off from the previous years. 28%, 29%, even 23%. So not sure what happened in 2022, but the other years were decent. And if we drop down the line to the debt to equity, same thing. 2018 they started off a little higher, 225%. But in 2019, 156%. 2020, 150%. They dropped. 2021, 108%. They even dropped more debt. But in 2022, they moved back up a little, 175%. And speaking of debt, let's look at their balance sheet. So we like when assets exceed liabilities, when our assets are higher than our liabilities. But some companies, particularly banks, They don't have that for current assets and current liabilities. Things under a year. So we see in all 5 years, their current assets slightly exceeded their current liabilities. But their total assets exceeded their total liabilities all 5 years, which we would expect. Any company where their total assets are not exceeding their total liabilities, I wouldn't even analyze them. Just pass on to the next. Zebra Technologies did not pay a dividend, but for 2019 through 2022, they bought back shares of their own stock, which we like to see. They had no problem with having enough cash flow to pay a dividend because they did not pay a dividend. But as we said, they have 51.34 million outstanding shares. 0.60% of those shares are held by insiders, those working with or involved in the company. But as we said, that's 0.60% of 51.34 million. So it's not a small number. And the shares held by institutions such as banks, etc., 91.19%. William Burns is the CEO and director, and he took on that position in March of 2023, which is a few months ago, not too long ago. And Zebra Technologies is in the communication equipment industry. Top of the list are Cisco Systems, Motorola, Hewlett Packard, Zebra, they're up there, and Juniper. Okay, now we're looking at the technicals for Zebra Technologies. And we see that Zebra Technologies has been dropping for a while. If we go to December of 2021, we see it's been dropping steadily. Little green candle gives us some hope. That was 1 week, and then it drops more. Here we had 3 consecutive weeks it moved up but continued to move down. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks it moved up, but then continued to drop, came up 1 more, and dropped some more. So it keeps dropping. And right now it's down here. We see a little bit of hope with 1 slight green candle, but we have to bear in mind that this was a negative week for the markets. And Zebra did not drop despite other things dropping like the SPY and so forth, or the S&P 500. What we want to do is see what happens here. Is this just another anomaly? or has Zebra really gone down and it's starting to move back up now? We want to keep an eye on it. If we see a couple of weeks it's moved up, maybe we may consider jumping in, but watch it. Is it going to move up a little and then drop again like it did these previous weeks? Or is it going to keep moving up? If it moves up a little and starts to drop, we want to get out of it. Our intention is to not lose money. But let's look at Zebra on an annual perspective. So I'm going to move down to 12 months. And we see Zebra's been moving up for a number of years, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, straight up. Then 2022, it fell back significantly. And here we are in 2023. It started to move up, but came back down, and now it's continuing to drop. It's a solid company, but it's continuing to drop. So at its high, it was above $570 a share. And now here it is at $207.18. And based on the fundamentals, it's a solid company. There are a lot of companies that are struggling these few years, 2022, 2023. Notice Zebra even survived during 2020, which was the COVID lockdowns. They moved up, right? But a lot of companies are struggling during these 2 years. It's not Zebra Technologies, but as we've seen from the fundamentals, they are a solid company. Okay, guys, see you in the next video.